What's going on, everybody? I'm Tank, and this is another episode of Roadie Reactions.
Get with this.
In today's reaction video, I'm going to be checking out a band for the very first time, and this is going to fall into the indie and unsigned bands category. And it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I'm pretty excited about it. Now, these guys originally reached out to me on social media and introduced themselves and gave me the history on the band, and I'm very intrigued. I'm excited to check this out. And there's a couple specific reasons that I want to check this video out. The first reason is because they told me they actually reached out to a lot of reactors to see if they would check out their band and give them a little exposure. And hey, I was in an unsigned band. I know how much any kind of exposure can help a band when you're first trying to get started. Now, there are some reactors that have filmed reactions to what we're about to watch. I even saw that A&P Reacts did a reaction to this. Good on you guys. But on the flip side of that, a lot of reactors didn't even respond to them, and a lot of the ones that did asked for upwards of hundreds of dollars to even consider checking out their music. And if you saw my video on the reaction scene, you know how I feel about that shit, man. It is completely selfish and ridiculous to want to ask an unsigned band that really is trying to get off their feet for any amount of money. It's ridiculous, man. So there is selfishly a part of me that wants to do this video just to stick it to those people that wouldn't do it without getting paid. But also, the second reason, and probably the bigger reason, these guys said the key words: metal and Finland. And for any of you that have watched this channel before, you know, I don't think I've ever seen a band from Finland that I didn't like. There's just something about bands from there that hit it for me every time. So today we're going to be checking out an unsigned metal band from Finland. So as always, I will link their original video in the description below. And today, for the very first time ever, I am checking out Irrational Cause with the music video for their single Inheritance. Let's go. So right out of the gates, I'm actually really impressed with how well or how good this audio quality is. From what I understand from these guys, this is from their first EP they've ever released as a band. And more oftentimes than not, the first releases you see from bands like ever once they've formed aren't the best quality. They don't sound well polished. This sounds really, really good. While it doesn't sound like it was produced in like $1 million studio, it's way better than you hear from most local and unsigned bands. I mean, this sounds like it could be on an independent label release just from the recording quality. And video-wise, man, this looks like all DIY stuff that they recorded, but it's still cool. It's still, again, way better than I've seen from a lot of other unsigned bands. So let's continue on, man. There's a lot of cool gear shots. We can talk about some stuff later, but let's take in a little more.
I spend my days living beggars by the walls built by yours. Gathering of masses, never ending day. When this resolve, I will be gone. One word, maybe
Good touch. hearing some of that bass in there and it sounds really good. So let's talk about the bass real quick. From what I've seen, some of the live shots, I haven't seen the bass that he's using really well, but it doesn't look like the same one that he's using in the studio. But the bass from the studio shots that we've seen is an ESP LTD B10. And it should be noted, he's a lefty. You don't see a lot of left-handed guitar and bass players. The ESP LTD B10 is an interesting instrument because it is considered a beginner's line bass. Like, they say it's one of their affordable, lower-end, entry-level instruments. Now, the interesting thing about that is the quality of it is actually so good that you see a lot of big bands using those basses. I mean, I'm pretty sure I just saw one in another video I did. I think it was the Assemble the Chariots video, another band from Finland. You know, I guess that's a good point that I should make, that like a lot of people put a lot of value in like the price range of instruments. Your brain automatically goes to like more expensive automatically means better. Now, while that may be true, they used more expensive parts and stuff on the guitars to build them, it doesn't always mean you're going to get the best product. I mean, one of my favorite basses I ever owned was a Fernandez Gravity 4 that cost me $100, and it sounded fantastic and I loved it. So that goes to show you right there, man, that just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's always going to be the best for you. So, let's take in a little more. I'm still trying to figure out one of the guitars. We'll come back to some more gear in a little bit. Oh, that bass tone's killer. Ooh, before this part, let's just get some more gear out of the way. So, drum-wise, the drummer's using a DW kit, and I think this is another really good point to bring up, is that when I saw the top-down angle of his cymbals, I saw multiple different brands. I saw Meinl, I saw Sabian, I saw another thing that I didn't quite spot out, but I saw a different logo. And that's another thing that is another good point when you're at this level, when you're a band that's just starting out or a newly signed band. You don't really have all the connections in the world to make all these endorsements that a lot of the bigger signed bands have. Because when the bigger signed bands start touring, you usually see them with one product. Like, they usually use one brand of cymbals. When I was in a band, when we were unsigned, I would just use anything that's available. And that's kind of the point that I'm getting at, is you see all the different brands of cymbals up there because you just make it work. I mean, he could have wanted to find like an 18-inch crash in a specific brand and they didn't have it, but he needed it, so he just bought a different brand. And I really admire that about, you know, the indie scene with bands, is just, you just make it work, you know? Guitar-wise, one of the guitar players is playing a Fender Jazzmaster, and it is actually the Jim Root signature Jazzmaster. Now, again, this is funny because I was recently talking about this in another video. The Jim Root signatures from Fender are very interesting because they're very simplistic. The Jazzmasters in themselves are known for being very complicated instruments. There's a lot of switches, there's a lot of tone knobs. But for Jim Root, he's saying that when he's playing metal, he doesn't need all the fancy shit. He just wants a pickup selector, a volume knob, and that's it. He doesn't need to control the tone with tone knobs and stuff like that. So that's what you've got on that Jazzmaster. I'm pretty sure it's loaded with EMG pickups. It's got a hardtail bridge on it. And then, again, just pickup selector, volume knob. That's it. And then the other guitar player, took me a minute to figure this out, is playing a PV HP2. This is wild because I think that's the first time I've seen a PV guitar on this channel. PV is a huge name in the music industry. I would say everybody recognizes that name. but you don't see too many of their instruments on tour anymore. The HP2 guitars are actually really high quality, great guitars. I don't know why I don't see more of them, but the HP actually stands for the founder and CEO of Peavey, Hartley Peavey, who started the company way back, I think in the 60s. And Peavey is actually a really cool company because they've always been at the forefront of like new technology in the industry and stuff like that, and especially in the job market. Hartley Peavey has actually been awarded by US presidents for the way he operates his business. Very cool to see that guitar. I don't know terribly much about it. I'm probably going to have to look up specs on it to, give you guys some info, but super cool to see that. I don't see too many Peaveys. Let's keep going. I think we could probably finish this off and then we'll talk about it more after. Sick bridge. Pizza. Oh, that's a studio treat right there. I think in that live footage. Oh, another song. Pause. I'm actually going to listen to some more of their stuff here in a second. I think at the very end in that live thing, I saw one of the guitar players playing a Randy Rhoads guitar too, so that's cool. Let's go talk some more about this. I'm honestly really impressed with the overall quality of that, considering that this is a freshman effort from an unsigned band. I've been in a bunch of unsigned bands. A lot of our earlier stuff sounded way shittier than that did, man. And I liked the video a lot. I liked that we got to see them in the studio. We got to see them playing in a live setting. They even threw in a little bit of humor. I feel as though after watching this video, I can get a good grasp on like who these guys are and what they're about. And I also heard that European metal influence. I heard the Finnish sound as well as a little bit of Swedish sound thrown in there, especially with the vocals. Now, constructive criticism time. Nobody take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to be a dick. There are a lot of bands in the world, and there are so many bands that will never get signed or get any attention. And the main difference with that is that the bands that do get signed have done something to stand out and set themselves apart from all of the other bands that are around that sound like them. Because with this sound, there's a lot of bands like this. There's a shitload of bands like this, especially from their area. Finland per capita has more metal bands than any other country in the entire world. So for these guys, it's really what are they going to do going forward to stand out and impress other people and to shine among all of the other bands that are around them. Because the potential is definitely there, man. I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm really curious to see where they go with this band because, like I just said, the potential's there. At this point, it's what are they going to do? What's the next step that they're going to take to make them stand out over everybody else? Because that's the ultimate goal. So once again, I enjoyed this, man. I'm going to listen to the rest of their EP. They do have it up on their YouTube channel. And I'm going to throw all the links to all their socials and everything below. So if you want to check these guys out and support them, you can do that. And I would highly encourage you to do so. So thank you guys very much for watching. And if this is your first time here, feel free to click subscribe, man. I release new videos all the time. So if you turn your alerts on, it probably won't matter because YouTube's alert system is terrible. If you liked this video, I would greatly appreciate the like as it does help the channel. But if you disliked it, no big deal, man. Thank you for watching this time. You are free to click dislike if you did not like it. I'm also on a ton of different social media. I have a Discord server. I have a Twitch that I stream on. If you're interested in any of that, I'll throw the links in the description below. My handle on everything social media related is @TankTheTech. Thank you so much once again for watching. I will be back very soon with another episode of Roadie Reactions.